What will we learn today? What are we going to cover? Well, this session will concentrate on the most important legal notices that you are likely to encounter in commercial property landlord and tenant practice. Those are contractual notices and break notices, notices under Section 25 and Section 26 of the Landlord and Tenant Act 1954, which of course are almost a companion piece, aren't they? They go together. Notices under Section 146 of the Law Property Act 1925, rent-free notices, notice under the Landlord and Tenant Covenants Act 1995. There are obviously loads and loads more notices, hundreds and hundreds of different types of notices, but we don't have time to go through all of them today, clearly, so those are the ones we're going to concentrate on. The practice points we're going to cover are what should be in the notice, what should you check for in the lease, timing, when does a notice count as sent and when does it count as received. Not all notices travel at the same speed or arrive at the same time, as we will see. Service, you will receive practical advice on service of property notices under the civil procedure rules by post, by hand. Can you withdraw notice? What happens if you fire it off and say, oh dear, I didn't want to send that after all? The recent case of Procter & Procter from last year. What happens when someone gets a property notice wrong? And we all know about Manai Investments and Legal Star from 1997, which we've all probably had to dig out, dust off and try to rely on from time to time, or our opposition probably have done. The session will also cover the recent case of Turner and Thomas, which is concerned with the limit of Manai. Has Manai reached its limits? And we'll also deal with Gab and Farrokhzad, also from last year, which is about landlord's unreasonable withholding of consent to assignment under the Landlord and Tenant Act 1988. Statutory notices, here's some basic points. Pretty basic stuff, date it, but that's not always fatal. And there's good examples of that in the appendices at the end. Make sure you sign it, not fatal always, but pretty basic. You should be doing that really. Electronic signatures are acceptable with property notices, but there have been some issues with e-signatures in other cases like wills, which we don't need to get onto today, thankfully. Make sure the termination date is correct. Don't rely on some kind of saving wording or whatever to bail you out. Something that's worth mentioning here is the month rule, I call it, or more accurately, the corresponding date rule. And that's the case of Dodds and Walker. So if you serve a notice on the 1st of March, then it kind of rolls over month to month on the same date of the month. So notice served on 1st March, which expires 1st September, is valid, but not if it expires the day before, on 31st of August. This is important because Manai won't rescue that. That is an absolute prescribed requirement, and Manai will not get you around that. You won't get, the judge won't say, oh, well, everyone knew it would be the next day. You won't, that won't work. Make sure you comply with statutory requirements as to termination or notice period, and make sure you comply with statutory requirements like prescribed information. Be very careful about that.